Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If I can have your attention, please. We will go ahead and get started. Let me first of all thank you for being here. We are just 6 short days away from leaving for Washington, D.C. and New York City, and I know, Xavier, we can't do that all night, my friend. We did that last night at Boostman. We can't do that all night. Okay. He's our applause leader. Thank you, Xavier. Guys, if you'll take note of the final trip meeting, I'm going to be going over, or the agenda here, I'm going to be going over a lot of information. I'm going to be going over it quickly, but I have spent the last 4 days typing up everything that I think you need to know about what we're doing, pretty much step by step through the week. Because again, communication, if I communicate in advance, everybody's prepared in advance, that makes the trip run so much smoother. But if you'll notice on the trip meeting agenda at the top, you'll see that I've given you some contact information. Gulf Coast Tours is the bus company that we'll be using out of Mobile. I've given you their website and phone number just in case you were to have to try to get in touch with the bus company. The hotel accommodations, you can see we are staying at the Avi Hotel Largo at FedEx Field in Washington, D.C. It actually has 2 names. It's the Best Western FedEx Field as well right now. They are waiting any day now for an inspection by Best Western. I figured that's a good thing if they're waiting for an inspection to be taken over by a hotel chain. So that must mean they've been I know they've been going under remodeling and so forth. But they're in Washington. We're staying there for 3 nights, and then we're staying at the Cambria Suites in Times Square for 4 nights. And Cambria Suites, you'll see a little later, is the upper line of the Choice Hotels. I've never heard of them until we started planning this trip. On there as well, you'll see we've got some emergency contact numbers. My cell phone, Mr. Schultz's cell phone, and pretty much I've given you all that information in the event of an emergency. If you had to call the hotel, you had to call the bus company, or you had to get up with me and Mr. Schultz. Looking at point number 1 there, our departure information. Of course, we leave next Wednesday night, March the 16th. We'll have a normal day at school that day. We'll close up the band room pretty quickly once school gets out so that Mr. Schultz and I can go take care of business. The band room will open at 7 o'clock that night, okay, for folks to start coming out, taking care of business. From 7 to 8:30, we will do our medication check-in. Again, this is a school trip. We have to follow school board rules. And our medication check-in is for students that have any prescription medications or anything that they regularly take. That's part of it may be over the counter, but if it's something that they take, they have to take regularly. You'll bring that up. It needs to be in a clearly marked bottle. In other words, the professional bottle. It doesn't need to be in a bottle that you just kind of write on, but it needs to, school board policy dictates it, just like we're checking in the school nurse, that it's in the original container with a student's name on it. Going to need enough medication for 9 days, okay? And when you check in at the medication check-in table, which will be right over here, there's paperwork that has to be filled out. We have to have you sign off on the paperwork. We have to check the medication. And same thing, we get off the trip, we have to check it back out to you. Dr. Mayu is going on the trip. He will be our family doctor. Him and his wife have been going with us the last few years. We've learned if Dr. Mayu goes, we don't end up in an emergency room. We don't end up in an urgent care center. But the years over the last 22 that he hasn't gone, every year I end up in one of those 2 places. So he'll be going. Miss Hendrickson is going to be our head chaperone on this trip as well. So she'll be helping him as far as medication distribution and so forth. But we will check that stuff in from 7 until 8:30 next Wednesday. Our band bank as well, we're offering that. Our band bank, just so you know, is an optional service. Ms. Weaver, do you want to explain real quickly what the band bank is? It's on the back of your page 3. She's giving an explanation, the back of the 3rd page of the packet. It is an optional service that we provide for kids. I'll tell you why we do the band bank. When I was in the 11th grade at Milton High School, 1986, the band went to Washington, D.C., New York City. And Greg Weaver ran out of money. And had to borrow money from the band director the last 2 days, and I came home and my parents paid the band director back. But over the years, when I became band director, we got to think, well, a great idea would be to help students to budget their money. And so that's what this is about. Ms. Weaver? She yells at me all the time. So
Up here, there's some envelopes. There's one for every day that the band bank will be open. And up in the corner, it's got the day and what city will start out in that day. In the list that I gave you and the instructions on the band bank, it tells you what meals have to be paid for that day. We'll have a table set up next Wednesday night. Just come in. We don't care how much is in here. We don't want to know how much is in each envelope. You just stuff it with their money and turn it in. You don't have to use it every day. If you just want to use it every other day or whatever, just turn in the envelopes that you have. We'll make a note on the morning, in the mornings. Mr. Hendricks will be there. And they sign for their envelopes, okay? And then at the end, if we have any left, we'll give it to them at the end. So make sure they pick it up.
Right, and guys, again, we're going to do, Mr. Hendricks, Chuck Hendricks, who works on our staff, he's also our cameraman if you go to the football games or the concerts. Oh, good, I'll let my phone in the office. I didn't use my phone. Usually I try to do that. But it's an optional service. It helps the student to budget money. It also helps protect. You know, you're giving your child $200 or $300. They go off and all of a sudden they go, I can't find my money. Okay? And this is just to help. They're high schoolers. But we do have those things where money is lost, or if they're like me, when I was on that trip, I forgot that this $4 for this popcorn and this Coke and this $10 for that, and it all kind of added up before I knew that I didn't have enough money to eat on. So that service is there for you, okay? Yes?
Just go ahead and put the money in there. We can't make change when you get here, so just go ahead and make sure you have it broken up however you want to give it to them.
And what happens, the band make it breakfast every morning down in the lobby of the hotel, or as the students are leaving, like for example, New York, every night at the announcements, we'll say the band bank will be open tomorrow morning from 7:30 to 8:15, and the students go down, find Mr. Hendricks. He simply pulls out their envelope and hands it to them for that day. And then Mr. Hendricks is responsible for keeping it locked up. We take the locked money bags and keep things locked up in the safes and all that type of stuff. So that's what that is. That'll be for you to check in that night as well. Amount of spending money. I'm glad you asked that question. I've sort of broken it down for you. You see the meals that we've got. We've got a food court lunch, a Smithsonian lunch, another food court lunch, Times Square dinner, 4 New York breakfasts, 4 New York lunches, 2 New York dinners, and a food court dinner. And I kind of told you on average what I thought, you know, if I were eating, and I like to eat, you probably could tell that, but on average, what I think that each would cost, and you can sort of figure that out your own. What I came up with was about 170 to 200 for meals. Okay, that's based on what you see right there. On top of that, you'll want money for snacks, money for souvenirs. Luggage. If you'll please limit to 1 suitcase, 1 overnight bag. We don't need walk-in closets. We are going to be gone 9 days. But again, when we're up there, it's going to be cooler weather. You need clothes that you can layer, because you'll notice that it'll be maybe cold in the morning. As you're making your way through the day, it'll start to heat up into the 60s. You'll probably want to take layers of clothes off, okay? But please, ladies, get together, because I've seen this before. I'll watch this load out here. Get together and figure out, you don't need 4 hair dryers and 3 curling irons amongst the room. Work that stuff out amongst your roommates, if you will, so we can pack a little bit lighter. It just helps us. When we're getting to the hotels, you're trying to check in. If you've got 3 rolling suitcases and 2 bags, and don't laugh, Mr. Rowe, because that was us in Europe, I know. Okay? It just makes it easier to get everybody in the elevator and everybody up. So please limit that. Luggage will go under, you need to have your name on your bag. I recommend something big like masking tape in your name when you're out in the parking lot and at the hotel in the afternoon or even at night. There's a lot of brown luggage suitcases and black luggage suitcases, and we all buy Samsonite and the brands that are sold around here at Walmart and so forth, and they all start to look the same. So please make sure your name is very visible on there, or you may want to take some kind of tape and markers so it looks unique. That'll help you out. The luggage will go under each individual's bus, so whatever bus you're on, that's where we'll put the luggage that night when we start loading, so that when you go to get off the bus, you can get your luggage quickly. Each bus will have a 4 to 5 member loading crew that will assign to help and be under the buses when we're loading up and so forth. You will need an overnight bag for our last night in New York City. I'll explain that a little bit later, but we're going to send our luggage and our buses back a day early since we're going to Amtrak train from New York to Washington. So you will need an overnight bag that meets the Amtrak specifications. We'll talk about that a little bit later. What's going to happen that night, though? All that stuff will be here. The band bank, the medication, and we'll open up at 7 o'clock. At 8:30, we're going to check roll. About 8:40, we're going to start loading the buses. It will be organized chaos, I promise, okay? So we'll have students start loading the buses. Underneath the buses, they'll come back in here, and then we'll load the top of the buses as though we were loading airplanes. For the back few rows to go first, that way they can get moved in and that way we're not walking, having to step over each other on the buses, okay? Or hopefully around 9:15, we'll be pulling out and headed towards Washington, D.C. Our charter buses I shared with you were Gulf Coast Tours, looking at bullet number 2. They are very nice buses. They're all 2013 or larger. They're 56 passenger buses. We currently have 110 that are going, 77 students, 33 adults. Okay, so you figure we've got 168 seats with 110 of us going on. The adults, of course, have a double seat. So we're going to have plenty of room on the buses. Okay, the amenities, of course, they've got a restroom on board. Use that restroom if you need to in the event of an emergency. If you just have to go, but you can hold it, I would recommend holding it. We're going to stop about every 3.5 hours or 4 hours, except maybe overnight we're driving. But remember, what goes in that bathroom stays in that bathroom, usually to the end of the trip. And they do have dump tanks, and they dump down to the lower tank. But usually the folks in the back would appreciate it, you know, if you could hold it until we get to a rest here. But they are there. Again, don't be miserable, don't be in pain. Use the bathroom, that's what they're there for, okay? DVDs. Mr. Schultz has got a DVD approved list. We can show G and PG rated movies, part of school board policy. Even though all of our students are over 13, we can't show PG-13 without parent permission. And so there's a slip that went around for the students. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, nothing much to talk about. That list, I told the students to put down whatever movie they think that is PG, whatever movie PG-13 they think they would want to watch on this. This isn't movies that we are definitely bringing, but that's a list that they put together, and I just put it on here. And I double checked everything as to why they were rated PG-13. But again, that's all that is. If you see anything on that list that you have, by all means bring it. Make sure that you put your name on whatever DVD that you bring. We have quite a collection over the years.
Past years, oh yeah.
DVDs.
22 years worth of movies in some VHSs and all.
We enjoy it too.
Now, the buses will have DVD players, and guys, the students bring them, they usually put their movies at the front. The chaperones will sort of pull out movies, and I usually and I've already told the chaperones, let the bus sort of decide. Buses also have direct TV on board, so we can watch NASCAR like we did last year.
Those slits, I put a box on top of the money box. At the end of the meeting, just put them in that box.
Also, wireless internet on the bus, and students, I will tell you, if 40 of us are hooked to that little wireless thing that the bus driver keeps locked up there by him, it will be super slow. Parents, it's like dial-up, okay? So just kind of be conscious, but there is Wi-Fi on the bus. Something I've never had to ask, but I called, because the last time that we made this long trip, we were running extension cords from the driver's little AC outlet at the front all the way down through the buses. These buses do have electrical outlets. If not every seat, the lady said some buses have it every seat, some have it every other row, okay? So you need to think about that. I know that's not a question I used to have to ask, but with all the electronic devices, needing chargers and that type of stuff, which by the way, all the cell phone accessories that we on the fundraiser will be here Monday. We'll pass those out Monday. They'll actually be here Saturday, but we'll pass those out on Monday. So those 10-foot cables will work out great. It has electrical outlets on the box. They are simply that, electrical outlets. I asked, are they USB ports? No, they're the kind you have to have your plug for it to go in, and you can plug in your USB cable. Okay? We are in the process of working on bus lists. Now, changing of seats, changing of buses. As the trip goes on, if we have issues, we will try to work through that. Everybody has a seat on the bus, and we do our best to accommodate their requests. We do that by seniority, okay? But at the same time, you would understand we can't, every time we stop and have kids go, hey, can I ride bus 2 now? Hey, I want to be on bus 1. Usually once we've got the bus list assigned, that's the way it stays. We print all that stuff out and so forth. Again, if there's an issue, if we have to separate people, we will take care of that. But normally, they don't need to try to come up and request, hey, we want to change buses now in the middle of the trip. It usually doesn't work that way. Movies, Mr. Schultz mentioned the PG list, due by Monday. Okay. Snacks and drinks. I would highly encourage snacks and drinks on the bus. Maybe the small ice chest that can fit under, the little 6-pack type ice chest. But listen, please don't bring canned drinks. Please bring bottle drinks that have caps. We're going to be spending 9 days of our lives, well, really 5 days of our lives, on these buses. Canned drinks are great and fine until somebody sets it down, it gets spilled, and then our feet stick to the floor the rest of the trip. Okay, so please make sure your drinks have closed-top bottles. Same thing, when we stop to eat, don't bring on cups that have the lids. Anything that can spill, we have to take care of our bus, which takes me to our next thing, trash and spills. We'll have trash bags up and down the bus. We gotta live on those buses. Let's make sure we take good care of them. If something were to spill, usually we keep paper towels up at the front of the bus. Please, let's get it cleaned up, okay? Don't just ignore it, students. Let's get that. Keep it cleaned up. Keep everybody comfortable, okay? Pillows and blankets are highly recommended, okay? I will say this, we will keep the buses on the cool side. We always do. It's easier for people to add clothes than for some of us that are hot natured to take off clothes, okay? I've also learned that if it starts to get hot on the bus, that's when people start getting more motion sickness, and you know, I don't know, it's just kind of gross when you're on a hot bus, okay? Germs and everything else. So, pillows and blankets, we will be driving overnight twice, okay? So they'll want something to cover up with. They'll want a pillow so they can get comfortable and try to sleep. Notice I put on here, sleeping on buses on the floor, wherever you can get comfortable. It is hard to get comfortable on a charter bus, okay? We're a van. There are many trips I have stepped over people getting to the bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning. Just make sure you don't completely block the roads, all right? But if you can fit under the seat, I've tried it once or twice, okay? I've slept across the seat. Now, of course, at the front of the bus, there's a ramp, and when you try to lay across this thing like that, it hurts. But wherever you can sleep, okay? Which, but definitely pillows and blankets. Remember, you know, to bring that stuff. Electronic devices need headphones. I do not need to hear a Game Boy for 15 hours, okay? We don't want to hear your music out of your cell phone. Make sure you've got headphones so we don't hear that stuff. Don't forget your charging cords. Talking about sleeping on buses, okay? Public display of affection. The school policies are that you can simply hold hands. Now, I will say this, okay? If you and your friend are sleeping in the seat and you got a pillow and you're leaning up against each other, we're probably not going to say anything, okay? But no, leaning against the wall, arms around each other, none of that stuff, or that's where the bus changes take place. You with me? We've spent all year developing trust and so forth, and I don't ever want to have to go against that, but don't give us reason not to trust. So understand that. That is simply, you know, if you're leaning against each other with a pillow in between you, not going to say anything. If you're all hugged up on each other, yeah, the chaperones are going to say something. Me and Mr. Schultz are going to get involved. Somebody's going to have to move buses. You're not going to be happy. Your trip's going to be ruined, and mom and dad spent all that money. Okay? Follow the rule, we'll be good. I don't think we have any problems with that. We never have. Okay? Or very few, I should say. Not never. Be respectful of those around you. You know, people are trying to sleep. You're going to be tired. My philosophy is this. We get up early, we run hard all day. We get back late, just enough for you to get a shower, a few minutes of sleep, and then we go again so that you stay tired. That's my philosophy. This is not a vacation. You thought you were on a vacation? You're wrong. This is a trip. It's a sightseeing trip. We're going to see as much as we can for the amount of money that we pay. Okay? So understand that. But folks will sleep. Like, for example, between Washington, D.C. and New York City that Sunday afternoon, you're probably going to be exhausted. You know, be respectful of those around you. If people are trying to sleep, don't be sticking your stinky socks up in their face. And, you know, show us. And we don't have those kind of problems, but I want to make sure that we don't. Okay? Be respectful of those around. If everybody's trying to sleep, don't be sitting there singing, you know, at the top of your lungs or anything like that. Quiet times on buses. We will have quiet times. For example, we leave next Wednesday night. We'll show a movie. Probably get us up to the other side of Bruton, up that way somewhere up towards Montgomery. And then we're going to shut everything down on the bus, and it'll be dark on the bus, it'll be quiet on the bus, so that we'll have quiet time. You can have your headphones, you can listen to your jam or surf Facebook or whatever you want to do, but it'll be a quiet time on the bus. We're going a long distance. On the way up there, it's 959 miles, 15 hours from Milton to Washington, D.C. Dress comfortable and dress smart. What I mean by that, you're going to be laying around the bus for 15 hours, getting off every once in a while at a rest stop, you know, getting off to eat breakfast. Wear comfortable clothing, okay? Something that, you know, sweatpants, you know, wind pants, those kind of things. that'll keep you comfortable so you can sleep on the bus, all right? Any questions about bullet number 2? Moving on, bullet number 3, restaurants and mall stops. These are some general rules right here. Be patient. There's 110 of us. Be patient when we get to Cracker Barrel. Be patient when we get to Golden Corral. Be patient. Okay? Be nice. Where's my drink? Order my drink 15 minutes ago. Okay? Again, we've got a great group, so but remember those things. Don't be wasteful. Okay? Golden Corral, don't try to build a mountain of mashed potatoes and country fried steak. Okay? Don't waste food. I'll walk around and look for that kind of stuff. Wait for the drinks at the buffet meals unless you're told otherwise. Listen to me. Here's the worst thing that can happen. We get in Golden Corral. I've seen it happen once or twice. They come around and take drink orders. Everybody gets up to the buffet. The waitress comes back with 30 drinks. Okay? And then 30 minutes later, I never got a Coke. Somebody else is drinking your Coke, okay? So wait for your drinks to get there. That'll help out at those areas. When we go to malls, please stay in the designated area of the mall. Don't leave the mall without permission. And you guys are good about that, but you don't need to try to wander across a highway and, hey, there's a Wendy's across the street, let's go over there. We're at that location for a reason. Stay within the perimeters of that location. Be aware of this. In Washington, D.C., New York City, refills, they usually charge you for a refill, okay? Around here, we go to a fast food place, we go to a restaurant, would you like another Coke, sir? Absolutely. Okay, up there, absolutely. You get your bill and go, they charge me $2.50 times 3 for drinks, all right? You may want to ask, okay? I've seen it happen before. You may want to ask. Things are a little bit different. That's not the South, okay? So, also understand, the only place you get sweet tea in New York City is McDonald's. Okay? So just know that. Yeah. Number 4. As well, we have purchased some items that we have found over the years will make the trip, it's right on the floor, inside the door, will make the trip so much, make it easier. We have ordered for all the participants, we have got little customized, inexpensive backpacks. And in your backpack, we'll be giving you folders that has different notes that you may need. Mr. Schultz has put together a list of, like for New York City. You don't have the neck locks there in your room. Okay. We'll be giving you folders with information and all of that. We'll be giving you a little notepad, giving you a pen so that you can leave notes. Okay? Let's all sit together. Ready? We'll be giving you that backpack to wear.
Look at that man.
We'll be giving you a backpack to wear. Keep your items in. Also, Ms. Schultz, bring that back up here real quick. Can you model that for us? We'll be giving you a neck wallet as well. Listen to me. This is important. It's a great place for your room key to go. It is a great place to put your bus and your subway passes, in particular in New York City, your IDs, your money. Why? It goes around your neck. I would even recommend putting it down your shirt. Okay? Keep it out of sight. You don't want your cash sitting there and somebody walking by. Okay? This keeps it in front of you, not in your back pocket, not in your side pockets where you can be pickpocketed. Okay? Keeps it safe. Keeps you get on the hop on, hop off bus. You put your pass, you show your pass, you can put it right back in there so you know where it's at. If you lose that subway pass, you lose those bus passes, you got to purchase another one. We can't get our money back. Okay? Very important. Big part. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Good job on that, by the way. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner on travel days. Let me talk about that here real quick. You'll notice on point number 5, breakfast at Cracker Barrel. Our first stop after we leave here at Milton High School is Cracker Barrel in Greenville, North Carolina. What we have done is we have purchased $15 preloaded gift cards. And as we get off the bus, we will hand everybody a $15 gift card. Now, the biggest breakfast meal is like $9, $9.99. I think that's for the country boy breakfast. Okay? We'll give everybody a gift card. That should be plenty for them to have their breakfast, their drink, their tax, and their tip. Okay? When we get to the Cracker Barrel that morning, it is general seating as well. Just so you're aware, seating's on a first come, first serve. Now they open at 6. We'll probably be there about 5:45. So we'll be first in line, but they wouldn't do a group thing with us, but they said, just get here, we'll work into the restaurant. I figure if we're there when they open, then we'll be the first one seated, we won't have to wait. Okay, so understand that. After we leave Cracker Barrel for breakfast, we're gonna go another 4 or 5 hours. We're going to stop for lunch at Chesterfield Town Center in Richmond, Virginia. Okay, they'll have lunch on their own that day. They'll need to pay for that. Food choices there, I've kind of just listed those. I looked at several different mall type places in Richmond, Virginia. This one had the most attractive food choices: Five Guys, Chick-fil-A, Carrabba's, China Max, barbecue, Jimmy John's. So you can see there's a wide variety of food there. Then that night we get to the hotel. The last time we made this trip, we drove all night. We got to the hotel about 4 o'clock, 4:30 that afternoon. We'd arranged dinner at CC's Pizza. We said, all right, guys, go to your rooms, put your stuff up. We'll meet back down here in an hour. And then they all said, do we have to go? I just want to take a shower and go to bed. All right, so we learned from that. What we're going to do this time is we're ordering each room 2 large one-topping pizzas from Papa John's. I've been asking the kids that by tomorrow they sign up on the door. They got a choice between cheese, pepperoni, sausage. That way each kid in the room, 4 students in the room, they each get half a pizza. We'll have 1 bottle of water. We'll have canned drinks that we'll give them in the lobby, canned Sprites and canned Diet Coke. So we're going to just do pizza at the hotel. That way they can grab some food, excuse me, take it back to their room. They can rest and be ready to start sightseeing Washington. And we learned that the last time. That'll be a lot better so they get their rest, get adequate night's sleep. They can do that in their rooms that night. Then starting on Thursday morning, I'm sorry, let me back up. On Thursday, of course, we arrived in Washington, D.C., looking at point number 6. We're staying at the Avi Hotel Largo. We'll be there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. When we get to the hotel, we pull in. Me and Mr. Schultz, Ms. Weaver will go inside to get the room keys, and I've had to send room list off about a month ago. And I've sent an updated one just this week. We'll go and we will get the room keys. What we ask usually is the students and the adults to get their luggage, get off the bus. Our adults all gather in one area next to the buses. Our girls all gather in one area next to the buses. Our boys all gather together in one area. There's 3 of us. We walk out. One of us has the adult keys. One has the girls' rooms keys. The other has the boys' rooms keys. And we will distribute up the keys at that point. Okay? You'll know this about the Avi, and then once they've gotten the keys, they head to their hotel room. At the Avi Hotel, they have in-room refrigerators and microwaves. I want you to know that. Both hotels have mini fridges and microwaves, so if they want to bring snacks, microwave popcorn, that just sort of can help on the expensive things on that end up there. Both hotels have free Wi-Fi as well. At the Avi Hotel Largo, there is a hot breakfast buffet each morning. I do recommend there's 110 of us, so this usually always works out this way, that we eat in shifts. What we do at the hotel, so that you know, I don't know, I've got it on here a little later, is we have curfew, and then we tell them when curfew ends in the morning. We always give each room a wake-up call, and tell them that after the wake-up call, they start making their way down to the breakfast buffet. What I would not recommend when I talk about eating shifts, don't be the last 15 minutes before the bus leaves, or you may be standing in line. Okay, so you'll want to make sure that you get on down there in plenty of time to eat breakfast. The Avi Hotel has nothing within walking distance but industrial type stuff. There's not a McDonald's next door. There's not a Tom Thumb around the corner or anything that you could walk to. Not that you could, but okay. Rules, remember about behavior in the hallways. You know, there are other people, other residents that are staying there at the hotel. Please make sure that you're courteous to those folks. We don't need to run up down the hallway screaming and yelling and being loud and so forth. Okay. Keep losing my place. Somebody used small font on this. I don't know who that is. Stay out of the. No, I'm good. As well, guys stay out of girls' rooms. Girls stay out of guys' rooms. What I always tell you about this: if, let's say, gentlemen, that you need to get a your phone charger or something back from a young lady, knock on the door, take a step back, and go, "Hey, Susie, can I get my charger back?" At no time should a guy ever step foot in a girl's room, or a girl ever step foot in a guy's room. If that's the case, if an adult sees you, I see you, you're in big time trouble for the rest of the trip. We'll talk about that. Okay? All it takes is it may be completely innocent. You step through that door. Okay? That door starts to shut. You pull the door back open. You walk out, and then you got all these rumors and bad reputations and all that start taking place. So make sure that you are always very conscientious about that. Moving on in that, curfew and room checks each night. We will, as we get off the buses, as we get back, we will tell them when their curfew is. Usually once the group gets back to the hotel, they've got about 15 to 20 minutes to get their ice, to get anything out of the vending machines they may need, to take care of, hey, I gotta get my charger back, and then we set curfew. Once we've set curfew, our student leadership, we have a meeting with our student leadership. I send them to the rooms to start checking, to make sure that the appropriate folks are there. The girls check the girls' rooms, the boy leadership checks the boys' rooms, then I usually meet with the adults at that point. Each night as I meet with the student leadership, we give announcements for the group, and then I give the adults the same announcements. And once the curfew has taken place, they are not to leave their hotel rooms for any reason except in the event of an emergency. Now, each room, each time that we're at each hotel, we'll get a rooming list with the phone numbers so that they know if they gotta get up with Dr. Mayhew in the night, or Mr. Schultz, or myself, or Ms. Hendrickson. They'll know how to get up with those people, okay? But never should they be opening the door, ordering pizza after curfew, running down the hall to get ice or anything like that. If there's a situation that they need something, they need to get up with one of the adults, okay? Same thing with damage. I've had this happen once years ago. If there's any damage in a hotel room, the folks amongst that room have to divide the cost unless they can pinpoint down to who created the damage. I'll never forget a trip to Orlando. Some young men were wrestling. One got in the bathroom. They closed the door. He was trying to pull the door. His foot went through the wall right underneath the toilet. We do room checks before we leave. There's a hole in the wall. Oh, that was there when we got here. And I'm sure that the broken sheetrock has been there that made them clean it up. And I think that hole in the wall cost those gentlemen $370 they had to divide amongst themselves. Okay? So please understand that any damage, and we do room checks before we leave each hotel, any damage is, they have to divide unless they can pinpoint, well, it was so-and-so, then that person's responsible. The van does not assume any of those costs, okay? Number 2 chat, let's talk about that. It's a long trip. And I know it's kind of fun. Number 2 chats, he really talking about number 2, like number 1 and number 2, okay? Folks, listen to me. There are certain bodily functions that everybody has to do or they get sick. And you're going to be eating a diet you're probably not used to because we're going to be eating a lot on this trip. And some of the biggest illnesses that we usually see are students that about the 4th or 5th day don't start feeling too good, okay? And what happens, I don't want to go to the bathroom with my roommates in the room. Bring spray, okay? Go to the hotel lobby bathroom, okay? But listen to me, because I have. If we've had any kind of issues on trips with students that are afraid to go number 2 on the trip, because they're not at home, okay? You gotta get beyond that, and you gotta do that. We've had too many issues with that in the past, okay? I'm not gonna say anything else about that, all right? Guys, we're at the hotel. It's gonna be short hours at the hotel. Get your rest. We're there to get rest. We're not there to wrestle in the rings, okay? You're gonna need your rest. What you'll find is if you're not sleeping, you're not gonna start enjoying the trip after about the 3rd or 4th day. So as we get back, use that time to unwind, to sleep, to shower, and be ready for another day of all the sightseeing you can handle, okay? In DC, the first day that we're actually there, the first full day on Friday, we're going to the Smithsonian Museums. And what we will do is we will set boundaries for our students along the National Mall. And once we get off there at Smithsonian, I will show them the buildings, we'll show them the square pretty much along the mall with the Smithsonian buildings on both sides that they can go to, okay? Security, as we walk into these, into the Smithsonian Museums, understand, security everywhere that we go in Washington, New York, is a lot more on high alert there than it ever is in Milton, Florida, okay? So every building you're gonna enter, you're gonna have to go through a security check, which means bags and that type of stuff, they're gonna check it. Backpacks and large bags, gonna slow things down. So the lighter you can travel, the quicker we're gonna be able to get in and out, okay? Behavior, they don't tolerate this stuff in Washington, D.C., New York City, okay? And you guys are great, but act civilized. Act like you've been out of Milton, Florida before. Be a good tourist, okay? I'm serious. Understand that at Smithsonian, that they'll search your large bags and backpacks. You can't have any sharp objects, including knives, bandanas. I've watched twice knives get taken away. You lose them. If you're going to go in the Smithsonian, you can't check them and get them on the way out. You lose them. Okay, and I watch my dads go, I didn't know you can't take a knife. Okay, no firearms. I've never seen them take those up from them. But no firearms, just saying. Stay in student groups of 3 or more people. Boundaries are to stay along the National Mall. Here's what we ask our students to do. They're not going to walk around, again, they're high schoolers. I'm not going to ask that they walk around with adults and they all stay in little lines and that kind of stuff. They're becoming young adults. We ask them to stay in groups of 3 or more as they're walking, going from museum to museum or going through the museums. Now, I know if they're in an exhibit in the museum, they may kind of separate around the corner from each other as they're reading and looking and stuff. I get that. But never really outside should we see them and, one person walking by themselves from this museum to the other museum. If they are, we've already had our chaperone training meeting, and I've asked the chaperones to go ahead and collect them up, and they go with you until they can find another group. The reason 3 or more for safety, okay? Somebody tried to kidnap 1, maybe 2, they could possibly grab. It's kind of hard to get 3. The third one can run off and get help. If somebody gets hurt, 1 stays with the person that's hurt, third one goes and gets help, okay? So groups of 3 or more. Plan your visit. You're not going to be able to see all the Smithsonian museums, okay? You don't understand these museums are usually 3 stories tall, and they're massive. They have east wings and west wings, and each wing will have several exhibits. So plan, you may want to start looking at that and plan what you want to see. The Air and Space Museum, I personally love the American History Museum, the Natural History Museum, the Art Museum, okay? There's about 7 or 8 different museums up and down along the National Mall there. You'll have lunch that day. You'll need to find somewhere in the cafeteria. There's cafeterias in a lot of the buildings, little food court type things. Or they may step right outside. A lot of times there's food vendors, there's food carts and so forth with hot dogs and that kind of stuff. They can eat lunch anywhere along the National Mall that day, or on the streets that run behind the Smithsonian Museums. That's still part of that National Mall area. That's actually where you'll find the food carts. Homeless people and beggars, listen to me. You will see quite a few of these folks, especially on the National Mall. National Mall, guys, is not like Cordova Mall. It's the big green grassy area that runs between the Washington Monument and the Capitol building. On the benches, you may see homeless people. You may see folks begging for money. For your safety, please do not interact. And I take students up there. This will be the 5th time, I think. Take students up there, and we've got hearts of gold, and we mean well. I don't need you to put yourself in a bad position. Are you with me? Not that we're mean people and you shouldn't give to the poor or anything like that, but you don't need to put yourself in that position. So if somebody's talking to you, you just keep looking straight ahead and keep walking, you and your group of 3 or more. Okay? Get that out there to you. That evening, on Friday evening, we're going to meet at 5 o'clock right in front of the National Gallery of Art, which is sort of in the center. And then we've got a little less than a mile walk up to Chinatown. We'll take the whole group, 110 of us, we'll walk up the street. We will go up to Chinatown, and there we'll find Tony Chang's Chinese restaurant. Okay? The best Chinese food I have ever eaten. All right? It really is. We got stranded in Washington, D.C. because of the plane cancellation one time. We had to eat there a second night. It was so good. But I remember last time, guys, we'll go in. They'll take us up the 3rd floor, kind of a banquet room. And I remember they started bringing out the food, and I remember all the students going, "Are they gonna eat this?" Because it's family stuff. They bring big dishes. Just hang in there. You may not like the Szechuan green beans, but the good stuff's coming, I promise you. Last time they started eating and nibbling, and then they went, "Oh my gosh, this was great." The band last time loved this place, all right? Because they kind of bring things out to you and shifts. You'll see the drinks that ought to be water and tea, that they are supposed to put soft drinks on the table, a couple of 2 liters per table. Okay? It is always a treat when I get to call Tony Chang's because we have a communication barrier. And he always wants our students to drink from the bar, and I keep saying they're high schoolers. Okay? And so last time we negotiated soft drinks. I'm hoping that he understood that this past time, and they'll have soft drinks, but there will be water and tea available that night. You'll see the menu. And again, it's family styles, wonton soup, spring roll, kung pao chicken, beef with broccoli, sweet and sour pork, baby shrimp and cashew nuts, Szechuan string beans, young chow fried rice, fortune cookies, sliced orange for dessert. And if you got some type of seafood allergy or something like that, ask before you eat it, okay? One of our student teachers, Mr. Dykes, who's a matter of priest, last time was getting ready to eat his fried rice, and Mr. Schultz went, "Is that shrimp in there? Don't you have a seafood allergy?"
Had a mouthful of it.
Yeah, okay. So, and he was fine, he survived, okay? But ask before you just, you're giving him mouth to mouth. That would be really awkward now with him and Gut Breezes. Okay. So we'll leave Tony Chains at 5:30 that evening. Then about 7 o'clock, we'll start coming down. Our buses will pick us up around 7:15, 7:30, and I have hired 3 professional tour guides out of Washington, D.C. One will get on each bus, and they will take us for a nighttime tour of the monuments. They sent me the itinerary the other day, about a 3-hour tour. We will actually stop at these monuments, though. We have a few minutes to get off and take pictures. We're going to the World War II Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, the Iwo Jima Memorial, the Korean War Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial, and the Vietnam Memorial. We'll be stopping at all of those at night. You'll be able to get off, walk up, check them out. As well, when we get off at some of these memorials, your tour guide will keep the group together, and they will like at the Lincoln, they'll keep you together for a period of time. They'll give you some free time, and they will explain some of the things that you'll be looking at that you may have never noticed behind Lincoln, up on the wall over here, and so forth. We will do that till about 10:30, 11 o'clock that night. We'll drop them off. We will head back to our hotel. On Saturday morning, we will get up, and we will arrive at early morning again. We will arrive at Arlington Cemetery around 8:30, and we'll be at Arlington from 8:30, leave about 11. And we are purchasing the tour tram tickets, and the tour tram is like those like Disney buses that pick you up in the parking lot and take you up, that are bench seating, and they put a chain across it, and it will take you up the hill. You're welcome to walk up the hill. You will have a tram tour ticket, but it takes you through Arlington Cemetery. Some of the popular stops, of course, is the Eternal Flame at John F. Kennedy's grave, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers. You will definitely want to be up there to watch the changing of the guard. Understand this, it is a very reverent and quiet ceremony, okay? Do not be at the changing of the guard and be loud and boisterous and so forth. It's very solemn and quiet, so make sure if you're up there, don't be joking around and laughing, and it's a very serious. Okay, those gentlemen that the changing of the guard, they guard that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, rain, snow, and blizzards, everything, all right? So please understand, you're in a cemetery, and to pay those respects to those folks. You'll notice as well, there are several funerals that will probably be going on, okay? Don't be surprised if all of a sudden a funeral procession passes. Again, show respect, okay? Those folks have got great honors to be buried in Arlington National Cemetery. They've done something great for our country, and I want you to see that. It's a beautiful place, okay? Arlington House up on the top. There's several other stops. It makes there's now a 9/11 memorial that I read about the other day when I was checking this out, and there's a space shuttle memorial with different things where the bus will stop. We're going to have about 2.5 hours getting at Arlington. Don't be late getting back. Make sure you plan your descent on the tour tram mobile bus thing, and plenty of time to be back by 11, because we're kind of on a tight schedule that day. From there, we're going to jump on the buses. We're going to go over to National Place Food Court and have a quick lunch. We'll have about an hour there before our White House tour. You'll see I've listed you some of the things that are there, the different restaurants. They've all got great reviews of everything I've seen. If you go ahead and flip the page. Then on Saturday afternoon, we discovered about 3 days ago that we were granted a White House tour. We were not able to get in the U.S. Capitol, okay? But we went to Jeff Miller's office, Congressman Miller's office, and we were able to get the White House tour. We're going to walk. It's only about 2 blocks from the National Food Place Center there, and we'll probably walk over to the White House Visitor Center first, time permitting, give you a chance to visit the Visitor Center. It has this kind of like a museum to the White House. Give you about 30 minutes or so there, and then we will head over for our White House tour. If you are 18 years or older, you must have a government-issued photo ID. Let me say that again, because last time, one young lady went, oh, she had to sit outside, and I had to sit outside with her, okay? If you are 18 years or older, and they know this, remember we had to send your birthday in October, okay, and your social security number, the security clearance is taking place. Please make sure you got your ID, and we'll remind you during the trip, and make sure you take it. The tour is going to take about 45 minutes. It is non-guided. However, as you go into different rooms, there's usually a member of the National Park Service that is there kind of telling you, if you'll look over here, you'll see this. And so it's kind of a guided tour in each room. But it's not like they walk us through and talk. You can kind of go at your own pace. And as you enter the next room, if you see something or have a question, you can ask the Park Service personnel that are in there. Notice what is not permitted. Extremely important. It's the White House. They don't play games. Okay? No video cameras. No cameras with detachable lens, with the big lens, in other words. No bags of any kind. You can't take your backpack. Now, our buses, remember, we're going to see them right before lunch, and then we're going to see them after the White House tour. So you're going to need to leave all this stuff on the bus, okay? No purses, no backpacks, any kind of bags. No pointed objects, okay? Knives or anything kind of pointing, all right? No weapons, no food, no drinks, no aerosols, liquids, no hand sanitizer or anything like that, okay? No tobacco products, no iPads or tablets, no fireworks. That's always kind of amused me. Hey, let's go shoot off fireworks in the White House. Okay. It's our house. Okay. No toy weapons, no selfie sticks. Okay, I took this straight from the White House just sent us all this information. Okay, what is permitted, which surprises me because this the last time this stuff wasn't permitted. You may take a compact camera with a lens that's less than 3 inches, like the little Polaroid cameras. Okay, those little Kodak cameras. You may take those now. They used to not allow that. You may take umbrellas without metal tips. It's supposed to rain that day. Okay. Has a metal tip, you gotta leave it, you can't take it in with you. You may take in your wallets, okay? You may take cell phones, they wouldn't allow that last time we were there, okay? However, no texting or talking, still photography only, please silence your phone. Can't be taking video, you can take your cell phone and be taking still pictures. You'll want that. Used to drive me nuts, you could never take that stuff, and yet you're standing at the White House and can't take a picture, you gotta allow that, okay? But understand, if you take something that's not on the list, okay, and you walk up, and we got to go through the security check. They'll go through the machines. They'll pat you down, all that kind of stuff. If you got it with you, the buses are going to be gone for a little while, so you're going to have to throw it away. Okay, so please understand that. Security, they're serious. Okay, don't do anything to draw attention to yourself in a negative way. Words not to say: bomb, terrorist, gun. You with me? And we're high schoolers and we think it's cute to go, I'm a terrorist. And we'll watch them take you out with the rifles right there. And we'll say, not anymore, okay? So, we laugh about that, but you're with me. You understand. And I think when you get up there, you'll understand there's a seriousness about this stuff, okay? You're in our nation's White House, in our president's house, okay? So understand that we're one of the only nations that does that. Otherwise, public. Yeah, you'll notice. Yeah, you will see snipers on the roof. Okay, so understand that your behavior is important. Act mature, and you guys always do. The groups in the past, I've always done that. But if I don't cover it, then you don't know that. Okay. The flag. Oh, yeah. Last time we had this opportunity, then on a personal trip, we had it 3 times in one day. If we're walking around the White House and you look and you start seeing police cars on the corners of streets, know something's fixing to happen, okay? Last time we were coming out of the White House, well, I wasn't. I was sitting outside the White House because one student forgot to vote. Okay, I didn't get to tour it, okay? And I noticed as we're going back to the White House Visitor Center and our buses were there, I looked, and by the White House Visitor Center, there was a police car. And I looked down the next block, there's a police car. I looked back the other way, there's a police car. And I went, hey, guys, get off the bus for a minute. And about that time, President Obama and his motorcade came out the back gate of the White House right by us. Okay? So if you see this all of a sudden, you notice that police cars are staging at every corner, know that the motorcade's fixing to come through. All right? So if you're ever in D.C., and again, it's very obvious, they'll kind of be sitting on the edge in a corner, and you'll look and go, okay, they're down the next street too. Know that they're getting ready to start blocking traffic, push the chances are the president's motorcade. Or it could be an embassy, someone from a foreign minister or something like that is in town. It could be theirs. Okay? You'll know because the president has the presidential seal on the side of one of the 2 limos that are alternating, or 3 limos that are alternating as it goes down the street. You won't know which one he's in. Yeah, you'll see he has an ambulance, a black ambulance that follows. You'll see all the black SUVs. I mean, it's the full deal, okay? I'm telling you that because that's really a cool experience, okay? He was stalking us one time. I saw him 3 times in one day. So yeah, thank you, Ms. Weaver, for that. The tour at the White House is going to take about 45 minutes. Okay, I've already went over that. So, now that we know the White House tour is at 1:30, we'll be done there about 2:30, 2:45. We were able to add a different attraction that we weren't originally planning to do, and that is the Smithsonian National Zoo. We're going to have about 3 hours at the zoo. We'll get there hopefully about 3:15. The attractions at the National Zoo close at 6. The biggest thing there probably are the pandas. Ling Ling, I remember Ling Ling, okay? But if you've never been to the Smithsonian National Zoo, it's a free zoo. It is a beautiful zoo, and the exhibits there are very natural-like. So we'll have about 3 hours to spend there. We'll get picked up, and then we will head to Golden Corral out by the hotel. Again, eat all you want, but don't waste food. Again, wait for your drink to be delivered. That'll conclude our Saturday. Once we get done at Golden Corral, we'll go back to the hotel. We'll start packing up. And then the next morning, we will get up, load the buses with all of our luggage. We will head out for Mount Vernon. We are planning on Sunday morning to visit Mount Vernon from 9:30 to 12:30 that afternoon, about 3 hours at Mount Vernon. If you don't know what Mount Vernon is, it's George Washington's home place. To me, it's always one of my favorite parts of the trip because it's a relaxing morning of walking around just the beautiful estates. Okay, and it's huge. And all this farmland and different things such as that. Understand no gum, food, drinks, or backpacks are allowed at Mount Vernon. Okay? If you're interested, we had looked into getting the narrated tours. Unfortunately, we had some folks that backed out of our trip, and I kept having to balance the budget so that we weren't going over budget. We weren't able to do those because they were $9 a piece. But what I did discover today is that they have a Mount Vernon app that you can download on your cell phone. I would recommend doing that, especially if you like the audio type stuff. If you walk up and you'll see a marker like number 13 on the app for $2.99, you can buy the whole audio tour, and you put in 13 through your headphones. It's got the narration and the colonial music playing. And it'll say, right now you're looking at George Washington's kitchen. You know, and here they smoked all the meats and so forth. So I would highly recommend that. It's there for the iPhone and for Android. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Get what on there? Those little wand things. I think they can, yeah. They're $9. Okay, I would recommend spending $3 if you've got a smartphone and taking your, because that little wand that hangs around your neck and you hold it here was a pain to me. Okay, so and that way, and on your smartphone as well, the app has got a GPS. It has maps on there, and so it has a scavenger hunt. The app's really kind of cool, actually. And you don't have to pay the $2.99. I mean, the $2.99 to get the complete audio tour. There's a GPS map thing on there. Points of interest. You can take colonial pictures where you're wearing a colonial outfit with Mount Vernon and put your face in. All kinds of cool stuff. I had a good 30 minutes with it earlier today. So I've already got my new Facebook photo. But anyway, we do also, when we're at Mount Vernon, of course, the George Washington's mansion is there. We do have a tour, a group tour. We will at 11:20 that morning. Everyone will meet right there at the mansion. It's the center focal point of Mount Vernon, and we will have a guided tour through the house. You'll see the bed where he laid and died. You'll see the dining room where he hosted folks from other countries and so forth. A very great experience. Again, behavior. Okay, you're a very rich part of our nation's history, and I know that you will, but make sure we act in that dignified manner, the way that we always do. It's an outside activity, so you'll need to think about that morning and later your clothes, dress warm, because chances are it'll be cool. Once we leave there, we're going to go to lunch at a place called Primo Family Restaurant. Miss Weaver found this online, and as soon as I turned it on, the video popped up, and this Greek guy's going, "Welcome to Primo Family Restaurant!" And I thought, this looks like a cool place. But we're going to stop there. It's after our Mount Vernon visit for a late lunch. He could accommodate us at 1:15 that day. It's located there in Alexandria, and they bring food out to the table, but it looks like it's all you can eat. They have New York style pizza, chicken tenders, French fries, Greek salad, homemade bread, grandma's cookies, and beverages. And it looks like a real fun experience, or at least on the video that it does. You can check that out online as well, Primo Family Restaurant in Alexandria. When we leave there, right around the corner is a Walmart Supercenter. We'll make a quick 30-minute stop for you to get supplies, batteries, snacks, whatever you need to do to resupply yourself for our trip to New York City. Okay, so 30-minute Walmart stop, and also a great place to go to the bathroom. If you're ever taking a group, Walmart Supercenter is a great bathroom stop. So you know, there's one in the front and in the back. So we'll make a 30-minute stop there, then we will head out to New York City that afternoon, and somewhere we'll depart around 2:30, 3 o'clock from Alexandria, and it is 240 miles. Depending on traffic in the New Jersey Turnpike, we will hopefully take 4.5 hours. Yes?
Get out of Washington, D.C., I want to mention on the National Park Service, their peak bloom forecast now is March 18th.
Yeah, I saw that for the cherry blossoms, yes. So every time we've been up in March, you can see the cherry blossoms. I don't know that we've been there when it's peak bloom, but the cherry blossom trees that line the basin around the Jefferson Memorial and pretty much all over the National Mall area are gorgeous. And guys, we're going to be there because of the warmer weather. They're starting to bloom. The Cherry Blossom Festival starts the week after we're gone. And but it's great because the cherry blossom will be in full bloom when we're there. So look forward to that. We will drive Sunday afternoon, evening up to New York City. We're going to be staying at the Cambria Suites Times Square Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. 4 nights there. And then we'll check out on Thursday. Now, this is located on 56th Street, about a block and a half off from Times Square. So as we load the buses that morning, we're going to do it by rooms. It's going to be a little bit different. We'll give you more instructions as we go. But because it's on a one-way street with 3 lanes, parking in 2 of the lanes, when our buses get there, it's on the correct side. Last time we got to the Afinia, Manhattan, we had to unload into the street on 6th Avenue. And so it was okay, go, 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 go. Vroom, 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 vroom. Okay. But we will load by rooms. Why? The sidewalk is pretty small. You'll see New York hotels don't have big, huge lobbies most of the time. Okay. So we'll load by rooms. We will go and get the room keys, and then we're going to call them off the buses by rooms and say, okay, we need, so-and-so's room. Come on down. Give them their room keys. They grab their luggages all together under a certain bus, and then they'll grab their luggage and head up to the rooms. That's going to make that transition, we think, a little bit easier, rather than having 110 people blocking the sidewalk with their luggage right next to the buses. Okay, so we'll handle that a little bit differently. This Cambria Suites Times Square is a brand new hotel. I stumbled upon a different Cambria Suites down in Chelsea, and we're trying to work with them. They didn't have enough double rooms, and in that process, I said, I Googled us. It said something like Cambria Suites Times Square coming soon. So I asked the manager then, and she said, yeah, they're opening in November. This was back in like September, October. And so finally they opened, and she got me in touch with the general manager there. It is in a great location. It is 1.5 long blocks from the center of Times Square. Matter of fact, it is located a half a block off 5th Avenue. It's located between 5th and 6th Avenue. And of course, Times Square is 7th Avenue, Avenue of the Americas comes together. It is 3 short blocks south of Rockefeller Center. So we're in a great location. Last time we stayed down by Madison Square Garden, we were about 8 to 10 blocks from the middle of Times Square. Now we're closer. In there as well, the Cambria Suites, there's free Wi-Fi. There's a mini fridge, microwave in the rooms. Now there you will not have breakfast, okay? So I might recommend when we stop at Walmart, you may want to get something, Pop-Tarts or something that you can put in the microwave in your room. Or you and your group may want to grab, there's all these little street vendors on the street where you can get like a sausage, little breakfast sandwiches, different things like that. There's also McDonald's right around the corner. There's a Subway about 2 doors down from the hotel. Okay? But breakfast items, I put that on there. Something you may want to consider since there's a microwave. You can save some money there. Again, get your rest. Understand New York hotels are different than Washington, D.C. and other hotels. Usually the rooms are smaller. Now again, they open in November. You can go on and look at their website. Rooms are very modern, deco looking. Okay, but understand that the last time some of the rooms, they couldn't really open the door with their luggage all sitting there, okay? And this may be the case. I will tell you this, I don't think I put it on here, there are no bathtubs in the bathroom, it's just a glass shower type thing. in the bathroom. So if you're one of those that like to soak in the bath, not gonna happen. You lay on the floor in the shower, good luck, okay? Again, each night as we get back, this will be a little bit different because the groups, we'll be in groups, which I'll talk about in a minute. We'll set curfew, we'll still do the room check type stuff, but we'll be a little bit different how we handle things. In the same way that we handle announcements, we will send that around with the student leadership. Now, several trips ago, I learned the hard way. I thought the trip before we had done a one-day excursion in New York and Washington, D.C. We went up there, got out at Times Square, saw Times Square, went to a Broadway musical, got back on the buses, and went back to Washington, D.C. Well, the first time I took a group, I thought, okay, we'll just get everybody in one group, we'll have a walking tour, and I'll just lead 109 other people through the streets of New York City. The worst mistake of my life. I almost quit my job on that trip at New York City. Okay? It's too hard because it's so, we were spread over 4 city blocks. My head chaperone was in group 11. Well, we gotta have a bathroom. And I'm going, there's no bathrooms, okay? And so we do the touring teams thing. And we've learned that we've done this twice now, this will be our 3rd time, that the touring teams is the way to go. And why tour teams? Because of that, it's easier to navigate. Why? Because the sidewalks, the streets are busy. Okay, millions of people live in New York City. I almost quit my job trying to get 110 people on a subway at rush hour. Doesn't work, okay? So it's easier to navigate the subway systems with smaller groups. That's why we're doing the tour teams. As well, the way we're going to get around in New York City, we have hop-on, hop-off double-decker buses. And that's those sightseeing buses you see usually with the open tops. On there are guides. They're going to have a 3-day pass for that, which will take place Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And in their small groups and their touring teams, they will be able to get on those buses. And again, it's hop on, hop off. They may get down to Wall Street and go, hey, y'all want to get off? Yeah, let's get off here. And then 20, they get off, walk around, see the bull, the raging bull. And then 25 minutes later, another bus comes along. Those buses are on cycles that come around about every 20 or 25 minutes. They get on, different bus, different tour guide, a different narrator, but they keep making their loop all the way back around. We're using those. There are 4 loops in a ferry tour. Each loop takes about 2+ hours, and the buses run every 20 to 25 minutes. You'll see there's an uptown loop. You see it takes from Central Park, Lincoln Center, Juilliard, Harlem, Natural History Museum. I put Harlem there twice. Zoo. There was a Harlem Market. That's what I meant to put on there. I got deleted. Downtown loop takes them to Wall Street, Little Italy, Chinatown, Soho, East Village, World Trade Center site, Battery Park. Also takes them out the United Nations building. The Brooklyn loop, you'll see notice the Brooklyn and Bronx loop are shorter. They only operate from 10 to 3. But you'll see Brooklyn takes them to Brooklyn Heights, which is the old Brooklyn neighborhood. Brooklyn Botanical Gardens, Prospect Park, the Barclays Center. Who plays the Barclays Center? Does anybody know?
The Brooklyn Nets.
The Nets, okay. Oh, the Brooklyn Nets now. Okay. Shows you how much I've been watching NBA in the last 7 years. Since Michael Jordan retired, I don't watch anymore. All right. The Bronx Loop, you'll see it'll take them to the Malcolm Shabazz Harlem Market, Harlem neighborhoods, but mainly Yankee Stadium. Okay. It actually on the Uptown Loop, you catch the Bronx Loop up there, and it takes you up to Yankee Stadium. Also includes a ferry tour, which leaves on the west side of the island of Manhattan, close to Times Square, within walking distance, and the ferry goes all the way down around by the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, around the tip of Manhattan to South Street Seaport. A great opportunity for them to get pictures of the Statue of Liberty. And you say, well, why don't we go see the Statue of Liberty? I've taken vans there before. You can't go up in it.
Yeah.
All you can do is walk around it.
You actually can now, they've opened it back up.
Do they open the crown back up?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can go to the crown, but you can't go to the torch.
Okay.
But they recommend you make reservations because
In
you can
advance.
only take a group of 4.
Okay. That doesn't work with a big group usually. So, but the ferry tour will take you around. If you want to go over the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, you have to buy a ticket at a different ferry that will actually take you over and drop you off. This ferry tour just goes by it so you can take pictures. If you're already downtown, don't want to get on that ferry, you can jump on the Staten Island ferry for free. It's just simply a public transportation ferry, and it goes right by them as well. Okay, so but your hop on, hop off includes all of that stuff. Every time you get on the bus, you got to present your ticket. Again, that's why we've got the neck wallets. Don't lose it. Keep it in your neck wallet. To replace it, we spent $116 on those. Okay? So you don't want to lose that. Or the rest of your group's going to be able to get on off the bus and what we're going to do with you. Okay? Also, Metro Subway passes. We're going to have those. Right? That'll work for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Our chaperones have already had a training on how to read the subway maps, how to get around, and so forth. We had that a couple of weeks ago. But our students will be on the subway. And I'll say this. A lot of times we've had anxiety on past trips. Parents and adults are like, New York subway? Okay? At first it's a little scary, but once they get up there and start seeing how it all works and navigating it, it is actually a wonderful, wonderful piece of transportation. It hauls like 3.5 million people a day in New York City. Most folks in New York don't have cars. They take public transportation wherever they're going. Okay? So they'll have subway passes. Notice that they got to present your subway metro ticket every time you're in a subway station. You lose it, you can't get through the gate. Okay, keep it in your neck wallet. Those are $31 a piece. We have to replace it. Okay, pay attention in the metro stations, the subway stations. Stay in your groups. Okay, very important. The adults already know this, but pay attention when those train doors open. You got to hurry up and get on. They don't sit there and wait and go, okay, is everybody on? Okay, close the doors. It's like open. You let the folks that are getting off get off first. You move, keep a clear path, and then everybody darts in. Okay? If there's, elderly, pregnant woman, those folks, if you're in a seat and there's no other seats, guys, offer them your seats. Okay? Stand up, grab a rail, grab one of the something that you can hold on to. Okay? You're going to see for Milton students that have never been on a subway, it's loud as you're going through the tunnels. It gets dark. I mean, the train's not dark, but outside you can't see anything. Okay? But it's a different experience. But I think once you do it, you'll learn to love it and to really kind of enjoy it. All right? So again, that's one of the things, the highlights of our past trips that our students have loved. Groups need to have a game plan. So what do I mean by that? It is very easy in New York City to waste a lot of time going from one side of the city to the other. What you'll want to do is to have a game plan. We're going to hit this, and this. Now, the way we work the trip is the first day I say everybody needs to be on the downtown loop, and you'll see that in just a few minutes, and you need to hit the attractions that are on the downtown loop. The second day, everybody's on the uptown loop. Your group, your tour team will want to hit the attractions that are on it. Or you may want to ride the whole way around it, and then kind of come up with your game plan. Okay, we're going to get back off here, here, and there. But understand you're going to eat up some more time as you're riding back around hearing the same narration script that you heard before. Okay? Changing teams. If we have issues, we'll work to change teams. But listen, everybody involved, the adults that are in each team need to be a part of that. Mr. Schultz, either Mr. Schultz or I need to be involved in that. We don't have any Lisas in the band, do we? Lisa gets up in the morning and goes, you know what, I want to go with my other friends on this tour group today. Do we have any Lisas in the band? Wake up, Ms. Schultz. Well, not students, okay? Lisa gets up and says, I think I'm going to go hang out with this friend today with their tour group. They just don't leave the hotel with that tour group, okay? They got to get their adults to get up with the other adults. Everybody's got to be clear. Okay, we're taking Lisa from here, and Lisa, everybody knows. Are you with me on that? We don't need to have group A that's leaving that morning. They can't find Lisa, and we're calling around trying to figure out where Lisa's at. She left for group B. Okay, so we can make it happen. It doesn't need to happen a lot. I've told the touring teams, which have been split up on the door, we worked that together up this afternoon, that if the adults in those groups, if the group teams want to split and they got two adults, or an adult that wants to take these 3 or 4 students, and this adult wants to take these while these go do this and those go do that, that's fine. But they'll communicate that amongst the groups. Okay? Meeting times are important, and even being back at the hotel are important. Flip the page. Sunday night, we get there. We'll check into the Cambria Suites at Times Square. As we check into the hotel, maybe have a little bit of time to freshen up, we're going to walk the 1.5 blocks down to Times Square. We will do this in our smaller teams, our touring teams. Once we get to Times Square, it's really interesting. About a week ago, I got an email that says, hey, I see you're bringing your group to New York. Would you like a group photo? I went, hey, how'd you know I'm bringing a group to New York? Okay, and so I got to looking, and it's a gentleman that does group photos in New York. Come to find out when I talked to him on the phone today, his sister searches Google She lives in Philadelphia, just searches for groups going to New York, and hit our webpage and discovered it, and so they sent us an email. But we're going to go to Times Square. We're meeting him that night between 8:30 and 9, down there between 56th, 57th Streets, and he is going to do a group photo. He'll have the small risers and stuff set up. He will set us up for a group photo. It's an optional thing. There's no charge to us for it. But if you want to buy a picture, they are $20. Okay? If you pay, you bring the $20. I give it to him that night. You get an 8x10 color photo. You get a frame/folder, one of those paper frames. You get a matching 4x6 postcard, and he notes, and it includes tax. He delivers it to us at the hotel probably the next day, okay, before we leave. If you want $20, there's also another option to where he will send me an email link. I'll send that out, and you can order them after the trip. I don't know how much they cost. He doesn't say, but you'll probably have to pay shipping and all that. So if you think you may want a group photo of us there in Times Square at night, I would bring $20, and that night we'll collect that, make a list of names, and go from there. But we will take our photo, and then we will give them a chance to grab dinner. And what we'll do that night is sort of set parameters, or we'll let the touring teams sort of set their own parameters and figure out where they want to go. There are lots of chain restaurants in Times Square. Guys, I would recommend this whenever you can, eat local. Eat the local places. Don't, you go to Olive Garden in Pensacola. Don't go to Times Square to eat at Olive Garden or TGI Fridays or Fridays. Okay? Find the little delis, find the restaurants that are unique to New York City. That's where you're going to get the coolest food. Okay? Oh yeah, understand this in Times Square, especially at the chains. If you get off the block or so from Times Square, you'll find the mom and pop restaurants and delis and that kind of stuff. But we'll eat dinner that night, go back to the hotel, check in, room checks, curfews, that type of stuff. Get up the next morning to the downtown loop on the double-decker buses. I recommend that each group visit St. Paul's Chapel before our scheduled afternoon activity. That is the 9/11 Rescue Workers Memorial. It's the church that was sitting right there where the towers fell, right across the street, and all it had was one broken window. The whole church, all the tombstones in the back. But that was the headquarters for all the relief workers. You go in there, you're going to see patches from all the different fire departments and rescue teams, and it's just an incredible experience when you go into that. You'll notice that we're going to be splitting into 3 different group tours at One World Observatory. If you don't know what that is, you've been seeing it all over TV. There's a credit card commercial, and they're overlooking the skyline and so forth. But One World Observatory is the top of Freedom Tower, which is now the largest tower in our part of the world. Okay, we're on the observation deck up top, so you can get a great view, Statue of Liberty down in the harbor, and back up from the lower part of Manhattan, back up looking at Manhattan. 3 different times there, 2:15, 2:45, 3:15. We'll be getting that information out to the teams a little bit later, because we have to divide so many students, so many parents, because of the way they booked it. Once they get done with One World Observatory, they'll come down, and then they'll go to the 9/11 Museum. This just opened up this past summer. 9/11 Museum is where you can see the fire trucks, the crushed fire trucks, a lot of the stuff from the 9/11 rescue efforts, and so forth. Okay. Following that, they'll visit 9/11 Memorial after leaving the museum. Their 9/11 papers due tomorrow. Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, the papers are due tomorrow. Got quite a few so far. We're gonna give them, once they get out of the museum, we're gonna give them their little tribute flags with the tags on them, and they can go and search for the person that they researched. Put it in there.
We explain to parents what that is real quick.
For those that don't know, last trip I wanted to make the 9/11 area more than just another museum, more than just another location that you just go to. So I put together this project where we research someone that died in the tower planes, the Pentagon, or what have you, on that day. And they research the person, they get to know in vivid detail all about this person. Give me that paper, and when we get there, we give them flags, and each flag, it's a little American flag, and each flag has a tag on it that says, in memory of so-and-so from so-and-so, the Mighty Black and Gold Band. They'll take these flags, and they put these, or they can either look ahead of time or look at the location for where their person's name is. If you've never been to the 9/11 Memorial itself, or if you've never seen it, period, in the locations where the towers were, there's gigantic
Pools.
bowling. Yeah, it's a pool. It's a fountain. It's a pool. And around the edges of it's where the towers were. And around the edges of that, the squares, they have copper or steel. What? Oh. Hi, Mr. Bear.
I just came from a meeting like this at my place.
Sparrow's the Navarre band director, him and his wife go with us on this trip too.
You can sit there. No. Sit there. But anyway, on there's the nameplates. They press the names of every person that died on that day, and their names are just thick enough to put these little flags in and hold them straight up. We did this last time, and I tell you, there was not a dry eye in the house. From students, staff, parents alike, and from the people that work there. We were lining the fence, and we started passing out these flags, and these people, the Park Service people, noticed that we had these, and they had these, and they were wondering, well, what's the deal with the flags? We like America. I mean, we love America, but what's the flags? And we told them the story, and boy, it was tearing up. You can go on Facebook and look at photos from back then, and it was just a moving event. And the purpose of it is students nowadays can understand how much this event changed the course of our lives. Most of the seniors now were about 2, 3, how old were you, Scott? 3 or 4 years old when it happened. The freshmen were 1 or 2. Yeah, they're not anymore. So, we don't want something for us not to forget.
So we'll be visiting those, and again, this is a very educational trip. That's why we're doing that. Once they've gotten done with the memorial, they'll travel back uptown. Their touring teams via the subway. Now that day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they're on their own with their touring teams for that. That's Monday. On Tuesday morning, those that are interested will get up bright and early for the Good Morning America. Last time we went and made our appearance on Good Morning America, it's a great experience. We got there way too early that morning, but we got to meet all the staff that was setting up out there in Times Square, and it worked out to where we were on TV, and our former drum major introduced the weather and all that kind of stuff. But for those that are interested in getting up early that morning, we will do that. I put sign up by Monday. We'll probably do that sign up list once we get started on the trip, because that sign up list changed greatly last year. Some of them that signed up go, I'm too tired. I was like, man, I'm all about it. Same thing me. It'll be the second morning of the trip, and we'll give the morning schedule as we get on the trip. But if you are planning to do that, I encourage you to make posters that you can take along. big posters that are light, they're with big letters and bright, so Milton High School Band, go Hello Milton Panthers, Hey Mom, or whatever, because as the Good Morning cast is out there, you can stand outside the window with your posters, or if they're outside in the street, you can stand out there behind them with the cameras. And so it was a blast last night. We'll do that Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday the small groups will take off and do their uptown loops that day on the double-decker buses. On Tuesday, they'll have breakfast and lunch in their small groups. Dinner is being provided that night. That evening, we're going to see Fiddler on the Roof, which is back on Broadway now. It's a classic, and I do ask that our group, and you'll see there are folks there that aren't dressed nice, they'll be in blue jeans, but it's always kind of a special night for us. If they'll be Sunday clothes, kind of dressy nice, that would be great. So they'll probably go back to the hotel to change, and we need to be at the theater, which is several blocks away from it's up north of Times Square. We need to be there by 6:40. The performance begins at 7 o'clock, and the performance is 2 hours and 45 minutes long. It's almost a 3-hour Broadway musical. Okay? So it's going to be a late night getting back to the hotel. After the Broadway show is when we can get the dinner reservations. We're going to Buca di Beppo after the Broadway show. We're supposed to arrive there at 10:15, be there from 10:15 to 11:30 p.m. I know you're like, great, that's a late dinner. You'll work the food off, I promise. You won't gain weight on that. Again, that's a family-style meal where they bring big dishes out to the table. It'll be an Italian meal, a mixed green salad, the apple gorgonzola salad, which is delicious. We've eaten it before. Spaghetti with meat sauce, fettuccine alfredo, chicken parmesan, and New York cheesecake. Okay, so we'll provide dinner that night, and then after dinner we'll go back to the hotel. And then notice it says luggage pickup on Wednesday morning. Now, here's what we were originally going to Amtrak train up, Amtrak train back down. I was looking at online prices, and then we've got to do group prices. It was like 3 times the amount. So what we're doing is we're taking the Amtrak back from New York to DC. We're able to work that into the budget of the trip. But we're not allowed to take big suitcases on the Amtrak train. Why? It's a commuter train. It's how people that live in New York get back to Washington, D.C. and a little bit further every day, go back and forth to work, okay? So what we're gonna do is that Wednesday morning is have you pack you an overnight bag prior to that Wednesday morning, and then the buses are gonna come back in by the hotel, and we'll have a certain time that everybody need to have their luggage down to the bus, and we'll put our big suitcases underneath the buses, and then we'll tell them bye-bye. They will leave, they will head back to Washington, D.C. late Wednesday morning, and stay Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night in Washington, D.C., so the drivers can get a good night's sleep, because we're coming to meet them in D.C. on Thursday, okay? So we'll bring our luggage down. You will need your carry-on bag, or your overnight bag, with your stuff in. Wednesday sightseeing, it'll be kind of the group's choice, any loop. Remember, they got the Water Ferry, the Brooklyn Loop, the Bronx Loop, or any of the other loops they want to do. Again, Wednesday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner on their own. And then that night, we'll do the nighttime tour on the hop-on, hop-off buses. It starts at 6:30 there, from right there by Times Square at the 8th Avenue location. It's an hour and a half long. They get on the bus. It mostly goes downtown over the Brooklyn Bridge, where they can get a great pictures of the lower Manhattan at night, where it's beautiful and lit up from across the river. We'll do that. They don't get off the buses. It's riding and narration only. There's no stops, no hop on, hop off on that. And it'll be nighttime. They'll need to dress warm for the nighttime tour. And then once they get back, we'll hang out a little bit at Times Square, let them grab dinner somewhere between there and Rockefeller Center. And then to finish out our trip on Wednesday night, we will go to the top of the Rock observation deck, which is the top of Rockefeller Center. That'll give them the rooftop view looking down at the Empire State Building and on down towards downtown Manhattan, okay? Or they can look north and see Yankee Stadium up in the Bronx and different things like that. But it's, we did the Empire State Building one time, and it was too crowded. It was just crawling with people. And top of the Rock is usually has a lot fewer people every time we've done it. We'll finish out that night with the top of the Rock observation deck. We'll get up Thursday morning. We'll have a limited amount of time to sightsee on Thursday, about 4 hours. And they'll hop on, hop off at work, so the groups will use their subway passes. This is the last time we did this, gave the groups a chance to run and do all their shopping, their souvenir shopping. Hey, we want to run back down to Chinatown. Hey, we want to run, over and do this. Kind of give them those things they didn't get to hit. Opportunity. When they come down that morning, we'll check out of the hotel rooms. We'll do a room check, and they will need to bring their overnight bags down. The hotel has graciously given us their meeting room, and we will store all of our luggage in their meeting room. Okay, all the groups will need to be back at the Cambria Suites at 1 o'clock, get their overnight bag, and then in their tour teams that they've been touring with, they'll make their way using walking in the subway system to get over to Penn Station. Okay, so we'll pick up their overnight bags. Again, they're responsible for breakfast and lunch that day. Okay, now the journey home is a long haul from New York City to Milton. It's 19 and a half hours, 1,180 miles. In case you didn't know that. It's a long trip. Again, dress comfortably. We will sleep on the buses on the way home. All we'll stop for is restroom breaks. And a lot of times they'll stop at a truck stop or something. They'll be gassing up. You'll have a chance to go in and buy snacks and so forth. Now, let's talk about that journey home. We're going to take the Amtrak train back from New York to Washington. All the touring teams are going to have to be back at Penn Station by 2:15 with their carry-on bags. Okay, notice the requirements for the carry-on bags. Less than 50 pounds. The dimensions are of 28 inches by 22 inches by 14 inches. They can have that, and they can have 2 personal items such as a backpack or a handbag. And you see those dimensions there. Okay, so take note of that. Now, boarding the train is going to be a little bit different. I spent about an hour and a half on the train, on the phone with Amtrak, and we had to go alphabetically, one name, and one birthday at a time. So tickets were non-transferable, non-refundable. I couldn't say, hey, you 110 tickets. I had to give them names. Okay? So on that, we'll be boarding the train alphabetically. We'll have alphabetical groups. And I think there's 17 in a group is the way it worked out. I've got one pass for all 17. They'll stand there. They'll check the names. They will send them to the train, onto the round thing you go to. On the train, when we get there, will be open seating, but I do want our group to stay together. The trip home is going to take about 3.5 hours. Understand that the train's going to stop, let other folks off and pick other folks up all the way between New York and Washington, D.C. We would get off the bus at Union Station, off the train at Union Station, Washington, D.C. There, we'll eat dinner at the food court. Again, remember that you're going to have your carry-on bags with you. There's 29 eating places. I've listed some. And then after you've had about an hour to eat dinner, we will load the buses and we will head out to Milton, Florida. I would encourage you again, as we get on the buses, to have snacks and bottled sodas and that type of stuff to drink on the way home. Okay? You'll notice point number 9, smartphone apps. I've given you some there to look at, including the George Washington's Mount Vernon. Understand this, that there's no Wi-Fi in the subway systems, so some of these, and the adults already know about these, but some of these, if you're using it out to navigate the subway, it ain't gonna work underground. Okay, some of them will, and that's the ones you want to find, the ones that you don't have to be on Wi-Fi if you're trying to use those. Weather, what to wear, bullet number 10. Right now, it's sort of too far out to check. You can go to weather.com and you can see, but you guys know as well as I do, the weather is constantly changing. So next week, we'll try to send out an email if the group going on the trip via Charms to let you know what the updated forecast is. Right now in Washington, D.C., the days that we're there, the high is 65 degrees, low of 41 degrees, so it'll never be hot. Okay? There is a rain chance for Friday and Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like 60% or between 60 and 40%. 60 on Friday and Saturday, 40 on Sunday. Yes, sir.
Are you gonna let rain or something like that interfere with the schedule?
No, sir, not at all. Unless it's lightning, we don't march in the lightning. So, okay. Well, there was a sneak preview we had to. Okay. New York City, extended forecast, 55 degrees. Not going to be real warm there at all. Low of 44 degrees. Rain chance is slight on Tuesday and Wednesday. But your question is, no, sir, I would encourage rain ponchos, rain jackets. I would bring umbrellas without metal tips. Okay? Remember, you can't take that in the White House with you. It's supposed to rain that day. But no, sir, we'll still do the zoo. We'll do everything unless they close it down. But I've learned as well, raining up in those places isn't necessarily the same kind of rain that we have down here. Here, if it rains, we're thinking gully wash. A lot of times, rain to them is a mist. So, in other areas. Prepare to layer your clothes. Get a good jacket, good gloves, probably hat. Because you may say, well, I don't wear gloves. Think of that. If you're going to be outside all day, you may want gloves. Okay? A hat. I will say this, if you need winter wear while you're there, go to Chinatown. Okay? There's some street markets in Chinatown. You'll find all kinds of winter wear for, you know, the winter hats that cover your ears that are lined with the fake fur and that stuff, like $10. Okay? That type of stuff. So understand that you'll need that stuff. Remember, most of your sightseeing is going to be outside, especially in New York City. And that's where you just went ahead. Oh, it just went live again. Okay. All you gotta do is just slam stuff down. Sometimes it works. Guys, make sure you've got good walking shoes. I would not recommend, unless you buy them like the next day or so, and then you wear them every day between now and then, that you buy new shoes and go, hey, I'm gonna wear my new shoes in D.C. Where you're gonna see lots of steps in Washington, D.C. You're gonna walk lots of miles on this trip, I promise you. Okay? So, it's big time. You don't want blisters. Blisters make your trip a little bit more miserable. So make sure you've got good walking shoes and that they're broken in. It's good. It was just lost signal. It's weird. Okay? Notice the emergency contact, general communication. In the event of an emergency, you can call me or you can call Mr. Schultz. I prefer Mr. Schultz. I'm just kidding. If you need to get a message to your child, it's not an emergency, and you can't reach them, maybe they don't have a cell phone, maybe they're not on their cell phone, they forgot their charger. If you'll text me or Mr. Schultz, we will be sure to get them that message. But leave your name. Hey, tell my boy to call me. Let's see, it's an 850-623. Okay. So if you will, hey, this is so-and-so's dad, please tell him to call me. So if you'll do that, that would help. You'll express how many messages we get, and we'll look at each other and go, you know who this is? I have no idea. Okay? And so sometimes we'll go, who is this? Or we'll go into Charms and do a search through the phone numbers to try to figure out who it is. We'll try to provide daily updates on Facebook if you want to kind of keep track of what's going on. And we like to do that. If we're dog tired, we may not put it up that night. But we'll try to keep things on our band Facebook page, kind of updated and let you know what's going on, kind of a day in review type stuff. Hey, we only had 10 kids get sick today. Okay, just kidding. That's not gonna happen. As well, determine phone plans. Most everybody's got cell phones. We may have a few that don't. If they don't, give them a calling card, determine how they're gonna reach you. Students, parents hate nothing more than to spend all this money for you on a trip, and then you don't call them and check in with them. Now, with cell phones today, I know most of you will text and go, hey, knucklehead, I hadn't heard from you 3 days, okay? But if you don't, make sure you got that stuff worked out in advance. And some things that we need from you, okay? Bullet number 12, item number 12, any updates or changes to the medical forms, okay? To the band medical forms that we filled out at the beginning of the year. If there's been some health stuff, we haven't had a chance to go through those yet. We will between now. You have? Okay. And so this is a new role for Ms. Hendrickson here. But any change stuff, we don't have a health form on you. Make sure that we get that. That health form, that medical form, allows us to give medication, over-the-counter stuff as needed. Dr. Mike will be with us. He always takes some prescription stuff that he thinks we may need along the way. And that medical form tells us about any allergies that our students have, anything such as that. So make sure that's updated. Pizza selection is on the door up here for that first night in DC. I need them to do that by tomorrow so we can call Papa John's. Mr. Schultz already mentioned the PG-13 video permission slip, and we wanted the cell phone contact information on there. We've got them in Charms, but you'll be surprised how many of those I'll call now and somebody else answers. So please update Charms if you haven't done so, but make sure we have a current cell phone for each participant, especially the student on that trip, in case, Lisa decides to get up and go with Group A that morning. We can't find Lisa, okay? Good Morning America, interest sign up. We'll take care of that a little bit closer to the trip. Don't forget the 9/11 papers will do tomorrow to Mr. Schultz. Now, Mr. Schultz, you want to talk about Remind real quick?
Yeah, my phone keeps buzzing here. My phone keeps buzzing because I have the Remind app, which is a really good app to get, but you don't have to have that to talk. Y'all, people have been signing up for this. Great, good. This right here is the band trip Remind 101. What we do with Remind 101 for this side is we send out general announcements to everybody. The band parents, you have one. If Mr. Weaver or I need to give specific information to you, to the chaperones, that is. I encourage everybody to sign up for that one. Band parents, they've already got it. Yeah, that's right. Way it works, you just text to one of those numbers, whichever one works. Some phones can't text in the 5-digit number, which is 81010 or 850-637-8697. It'll be up there all night, so you can see it. Or you message the message line. You put @MHS Trip, @MHS Trip. Once you send that, you may get something that says fees may apply. That's not the case. That's only if you do not have texting service. Okay, that's the only time that'll happen. Now, we will send out itinerary updates with this. We'll send out check-in, check-out information, whatnot, throughout the trip.
Is that the correct number up there? That's not the number we texted each other. Okay. So 8697. I checked with you.
Yeah.
The one that was on there.
Let me double check that. Yeah. If for now, go ahead and sign up for the 8110 8110 number, and I'll double check that right now to it's working. Some people are doing it.
You're welcome.
So thank you.
At least saying 697, that must be it. All right, so use this number on the board. Don't use my number. Okay, because the things we printed out up here have that number on them. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Again, guys, remind us so that we can get text messages out in a hurry, okay, and communicate. Remind is a teacher texting system. They can't text us back, but we can simply send out messages to them, and it's a limited message. It's only so many characters that we could send. Other stuff, real quick. You guys, we're almost done here.
Can I clear something up? Some of the chaperones, the number, the 81010, that's the same number for everything. That's what Remind uses. You just for this specific class, you have to put at MHS trip. That'll get you into the general.
Yeah, that's the one we use for students. Chaperones, you pay attention to the one we gave you, okay, that I gave you at our meeting. That's the one I use to communicate, Ms. Schultz used to communicate with you, to give you chaperone information. All right, general conduct, eyeballs up here. This is the most important part of while we're here tonight with students and parents, okay? Let me remind you about behavior. And you guys are great, you're the hardest working students in the school, but you're teenagers. Remember, we're going away from home. We're representing our community, our families, and our school. Make sure our behavior is what it needs to be, please, okay? Shoplifting, guess what? They catch you. I took a group, not the last time, the group before, and I had an instance where a young man thought it would be real cool to go into a store and try to walk out with a leather jacket on. The New York City Police Department got a hold of him. He was in a touring team that I was with. And I couldn't almost get him away from the New York Police Department. Thank goodness we were leaving New York City the next morning. When we got back to school, he was got banned. He got suspended from school for 10 days and suffered the consequences and all that came along with that, okay? So that's important. And back then it was, I don't think it's that way now. Back then it was sort of a game. And but he got into big time trouble for that. So be aware of that. Dress codes. Guys, school dress codes still apply. Okay? School dress codes will still apply. So be aware of that. Same thing, alcohol and tobacco, not allowed at school, not allowed on the trip. I've never had to deal with that, but I don't want to ever have to deal with it. Don't think, hey, it'll be cool to get some alcohol at a little party in the room. That'll be your last party with an high school band that you'll ever have. Okay? So understand that. We're not going to play any games about that. Public display of affection. I know we have some couples that are going, 1 or 2 maybe. We may not. Yeah, I think we do. Okay? I know we'll have 20 or 30 that will blossom up during the trip. Okay? Break up a week later, it always happens. Okay? Let me remind you, okay? Image is everything. Make sure holding hands, okay? That's the extent of it. Not making out, none of that stuff, okay? So image is everything. And remind you that. Don't do anything to bring your image, your family's image, our band programs, our school's image down in what you're doing. Language, same thing. Appropriate language, just because you're in New York City, doesn't mean you gotta talk like cab drivers. Okay, you with me? Respect. Respect. Please show respect. Okay? There are folks you're gonna be walking down the street, they'll almost just run you over, get by you. You be respectful. They'll be like, hey man, what are you doing? Show respect to your peers, to listen to me, the chaperones on the trip. If they tell you to do something, just like we do with football, you do it. Okay? If there's an issue what they've asked you to do, unless it's illegal, unethical, or moral, you do it. And then when it's a convenient time, we'll get together and with me and Ms. Schultz, we will talk about it at a convenient time. If we're trying to get 110 people into the restaurant and it's stressful and a high tense situation, don't come up and want to talk right then and there about you didn't like it that Miss So-and-so wouldn't let me do this today, okay? Find the right time, we'll talk about it, but be respectful of the chaperones that we put, that are going along with us on this trip. Understand, we don't play games with that, do we? Okay? Curfews, once you're in your room, you're in your room. We don't have any fire scheduled on this trip, okay? Don't intend for none. If there's a fire, an emergency, you have to get out of your room. By all means, leave your room. Come running down the hallway screaming with the rest of us, okay? But other than that, don't think I'm going to sneak out of my room and run in and get ice. Once those, and you guys understand, it's not even about you getting ice. It's about, okay, what could happen to you when you step outside your room at 2 o'clock in the morning to go get ice. I think the hotels are standard safe, but again, it's better to be safe than sorry, okay? If you have a need at night, call an adult. We'll get to you. We'll help you with that need, okay? Major offenses. I've dealt with this before. I told you about my trip before to New York City. Okay? Major offenses usually result in what I call chaperone arrest. What does chaperone arrest mean? That means you're going to hang out with one of the adults. Usually me or Mr. Schultz, Miss Letty, okay? Miss Weaver. For however long we deem necessary. We've got trust in you to do the right thing. You break that trust that we have, we're not going to take our eyes off of you. That means you sleep on the floor of our room. That means if I've got to go to the bathroom, you stand outside the stall while I use the bathroom. okay? If I decide I'm eating sushi, guess what you're eating today, okay? Don't get, and guys, that makes our trip miserable. We don't want that. But understand the importance of our role and what we're doing, okay? Extreme situations, we'll be on the phone with mom and dad going, how do you want them to get home? We've got 5 more days of trip, and we're not gonna be responsible for them once we get them back to you, okay? So, please understand that. Behavior is extremely important. And I preach that, we don't usually have any major problems. You're a great group of young people, okay? I wouldn't take you off if I didn't believe that. Let's make sure we don't have any problems. I thought I had listed on here, but tradition, listen to me, here's what I love. When we take our group off to places, we usually, as a staff, we kind of keep count to the number of compliments we get. Golden Corral will say, you know, we go there, and as we get ready to leave, the waitress go, that was one of the best, well-behaved groups and great mannered group we've ever had. We keep count of those. That's a tradition. That's a pride thing. And that's what we like. Man, we thought most groups come in here, and this place is a wreck when they're gone. And man, your students, I mean, it's like they almost weren't even here. Or the hotels. I remember the last time we got ready to get back up late at night. We were out on the monument tour. The hotel, 11 o'clock, called and said, Mr. Weaver, are y'all okay? I said, yeah, man, we're on the monuments tour. We're on our way back. Okay, you know it's 11. And I said, we'll be in stealth mode. You ain't got to worry about us. And we did. We got back to the hotel that night. We were in stealth mode. The person at the desk was going. Hundreds something of us come flooding through the door without making a sound. Going back to our room, they're like, really? The manager called me the next morning. That's the kind of stuff that makes us a unique group, that makes us a cool group. Okay? Don't do anything to break that tradition. Don't be the group that can't get quiet at night at the hotel to where the front desk is calling about noise, complaints that they're getting, to where we have to meet with the manager the next day, to where we have to start getting and breaking rooms apart. Okay? Never happened. No, hardly ever happened. Okay? Don't plan on starting that. You with me? Moving on down the next thing here. Final trip, payments remember due tomorrow. If you've got questions, Ms. Weaver has a list for the financial stuff of what everybody is owed as of this afternoon? This morning, okay? If you put it in the box this afternoon, she probably didn't get it, because she checked the box right at the beginning of school this morning. Remember that all bank fees need to be paid as well. Know this, that we can't accept credit card online now through Charms. If you go on to the individual Charm account, there's a button that Mr. Schultz and the boosters have put there where you can click on and pay via PayPal. There is a charge of 2.5%. Yeah, 2.5%, but you may pay via credit card. It goes to the Band Parent Association. They'll turn around and cut us a check before we leave on the trip so we get the money in the account to pay the bills. But any questions financially, see Ms. Weaver. Extra money in the account, if you've got some, if you've earned more or paid in more, we'll give that out through the band bank when you check in next Wednesday night. Those funds will be there with an envelope with that student's name, so you can take it out of the envelope we give you and put it in whatever envelopes, however you want to disperse it to them, or they can just take it and hold on to it. If it's less than $5, it's not worth us having to create an envelope. We'll keep that in their band account, okay? If they're senior, except for seniors, we'll give them, they got a $3 credit, we'll give them $3. Everybody else will carry over in the next year. If you would like to leave the money in the account, let's say you got an extra $50 in there, but your child doesn't need on a trip, you want to go towards an extra fees, send me an email, I will send it to Ms. Weaver. And she'll make sure that we don't give you that money back, that it carries over. In the next year, all chocolate money, which I still have some chocolate in the office, by the way, came to World's Finest, needs to be turned in by next Tuesday if you're expecting to use the profit. You can't bring it in next Wednesday, go, here's my $60, can I get my $30? Okay, we need it back by next Tuesday, so she'll have time to get it in the computer and get your profits back. Okay, if you'll notice on the back of the next page, there's a packing list on the back of it. Again, on this trip, be respectful of others, get your rest, be flexible. It's a big group. There may be some standing around sometimes with the group because we're trying to get things worked out. So what we're going to do. Let me tell you this. I say this every year. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. I've seen it. Get ready to leave for San Antonio. Parking lot. Boyfriend breaks up with girlfriend in the parking lot. He's not banned. She gets on the bus and she boo-hoos for 5 solid days at the restaurants. Are you going to eat? It's just a boy. Okay? You're in San Antonio, Texas. Forget him. There's some guys all around here. Get the others on the buses, okay? So Listen, there are some things you have no control over. Don't let that affect your trip. It's not worth it, okay? It's not, you pay good money, man, enjoy this. I call this the been there, seen that tour. We're gonna do a lot of walking. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, there's a monument. Oh yeah, look at that. Hey, there's Abraham Lincoln, okay? When this trip is really cool is when you get back home and you're watching the news or you're watching a movie and you see the Lincoln Memorial and the reflecting pool and you go, I was there. Man, I was standing on that step right there. You see a concert or something from one of those monuments or memorials. It's the been there, seen that tour, okay? So don't sweat the small stuff. Enjoy your time there. Enjoy your time in New York City. You'll be surprised from here on when you watch TV. You'll see stuff. You'll go, been there, done that. Okay? Again, tradition, get ready to go the extra mile, be ready to have fun. It's a great trip, it's a turn trip. Now, in just a moment, what I need to do to finish this up is the students and adults that are going, I want you to break into your tour teams for just a couple of minutes to meet everybody. Miss Weaver is, listen up, Miss Weaver is gonna come around to the adults and she is going to distribute the handouts. Now, there are 9 tour teams. The list is actually right up here on the door. Should I call them out real quick?
I'm not.
Okay. I'm going to call you in the location here. Here's what I need you to do. I want you students to introduce yourselves to the chaperones that are going with you. I want you to discuss anything. Listen up. Listen up. Listen up. Okay? Don't make me call you to attention. Okay, just kidding. I want you to discuss anything your group really wants to see so you can sort of start developing the game plan for New York City. And as well, what we're giving you with our hop on, hop off, we got actually 3 vouchers. One of those we're using for Top of the Rock. We've already pre-ordered that for you. But your group will have a chance to pick 2 other attractions that they'll get free tickets for, or it could be 2 meals, one in Chinatown, literally there's different restaurants. Your group needs, Ms. Weaver's gonna give each group a couple of lists to look at, and you guys need to start discussing that as well. Remember that each group can even split off. Let's say half the group wants to do this and that, the other half and some adults want to do this, that's fine too. But start getting an idea. We don't have to know tonight what you're choosing, but we want you to have an idea. When we get there to New York, they're gonna give us vouchers, we're gonna hand those to the teams. So you'll be able to change them, but I want you to start coming up with a game plan. Okay, just a few minutes. Once you're done with that meeting, you'll be dismissed. Okay, again, financial questions, see Ms. Weaver. If there are other questions, or are there any other questions I can answer, would help the group. Yes?
Just want to remind everybody it's Spirit Week.
Spirit Night at Firehouse. Got 40 minutes to do that.
Please.
Ms. Weaver mentioned this to me earlier. Last time we were on this trip, we walked over 60 miles. Wow. At the pedometers on, so just be prepared. Yes? Oh, at the Washington Hotel. I saw that yesterday. I forgot to put on. I don't know that we'll have any time except maybe the first night. At Washington, listen to me. At the Ivy Hotel Largo, there is an indoor swimming pool. I forgot about it. I saw that yesterday with the amenities I forgot to put on there. If you need to bring appropriate swimwear, remember appropriate means if it jiggles, cover it up. Okay? You'll probably have an opportunity the first night to swim. The first day you get there. Okay? Don't bathe, don't bring your soap. Any other questions? Yes? We will have it on our website here probably by tomorrow, along with the video for tonight as well. Yeah. Oh, and folks that are going as well, it's illegal. You sure we talk about it?
Tell us.
Okay. Underground shopping in Chinatown. We'll give you more information about that a little bit later. It's a lot of fun, but you may want to bring some money if you're looking